Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a nice night this morning. We are with you this morning together again. Myself, you already know who I am. To those of y'all that know me, I'm conscious. To those of y'all that don't know me, I am conscious. Ashley, the chosen one, or the chosen one by Ashley, as y'all call her husband. I have here with me my wife,
Hi, everyone.
Ashley, the chosen one.
How y'all doing today?
She's here with us. Yes. So we're gonna give y'all a second to come on this live. I'm gonna give y'all about another minute and a half, and then we'll get started and we'll go from there. About another minute.
We can get started.
I'll give them another minute. We'll get started. So let's give them about 2 minutes while I start. Your ritual is to go right. You like to just go right now, huh?
Yeah. Ready to come in? Just go ahead and talk. Go ahead, come in.
I already know. But like I said, I always give them a minute and a half. That's just how conscious do. Those who know conscious, they know how I do. They know how I do. I do. Alright. My wife want me to go ahead and get started. My wifey say do, I have to do. So usually I give y'all about 2 to 3 minutes, but she said start, so I'll just go ahead and do what she say. It's for the best, at least for my sake. But today's topic is no matter what you're going through, if you're feeling lows, you call on God and He will see you through. He'll guide you. That's what today's topic is. So this topic was actually something that came to me this morning. It came to me this morning when I was asleep. God gave me this topic, and I had discussed it with my wife, and we sat down, we discussed it, and we decided to, speak to y'all about it together because we felt like it'd be a great topic to talk to y'all about. Basically, right now, as we're on this live right now, a lot of y'all not tuned in yet, but for those of y'all who are going to tune in, a lot of people right now are going through something. Everybody in this world right now is going through something. And as they're going through something, they're trying to find their way. And they don't know which way to turn, which way to go. They don't even know who to call on or how to even get through the situation. They're facing battles and going through battles, but they don't have the armor or the weapons to win the battle. And what happens when you don't have the armor and the weapon to win the battle? You lose the battle. You get destroyed. See, when you don't have that guidance, it causes destruction. And the more destruction it gets causes, the worse the situation becomes. And again, when you have destruction and you're on this path to self-destruction, you carry other people along with you without knowing that you're putting destruction on other people and carrying them along with you. So this is why it's important to understand that if you're going through something right now, it doesn't matter what your situation is, you have to call on God. God. You have to. Because the thing about it is, no matter what situation you're facing or what you're going through, only God can win the battle. Because God knows you best. God knows you better than you know yourself. God knows you better than you know anybody. God can help you to get the tools that you need. Like I said, the tools that you need to fight that battle, God can give you those tools. He can give you that armor. He can give you those weapons that you need to fight back. See, a lot of us, we go through situations in life. We go through depression. We go through heartbreak. We go through disappointment. We go through non-acceptance. We go through emptiness. We go through a lot more different things, such as insecurity, such as feeling like feeling feeling like we're not good enough to be somebody. All these different things causes us to turn in a direction that we don't want to go. It puts us down. It makes us feel lower. It makes us feel like we're down here. And when you feel like you're down here and you go down to the bottom, it's hard to come out of the bottom. Because the bottom changes your direction. When you at the bottom and you're really in the bottom, you don't understand. It's like the ocean, okay? The ocean, as you know, when you at the top of the ocean, you can swim, you can go like this and go like that. But as you go deeper and deeper into the water, it gets darker and darker as you swim lower and lower. Or if you in the ocean and you going deeper and deeper and you get into a submarine or you get into anything that can go under the ocean, it gets darker and darker and darker for every part of the ocean that you're going into. That's the same thing with life. If you're going through something and you're continuously going through it and you're not getting help to get through it, or you're getting more and more lost, or you're getting to a point where it's consuming you, the darkness is consuming you, or something's consuming you and it's dragging you down, it's pulling you like this. And see, that's the thing. As it pulls you down, you go deeper and deeper. Like I said about that ocean, you get deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkness. And when you're in darkness, you already know it's hard to find your way back to the light. It really is. But see, that's what God is here for. God will never forsake you. He will never leave you. He will always be that flashlight that you need to make your way through the darkness. All you have to do is call on him. That's all you have to do. Call on God and ask God for guidance. Tell God what your situation is, and God will hear you. Ask God to heal your heart. Ask God to help you through it. Ask God to make you stronger. Ask God. If you don't ask him for nothing else, ask God to help you to fight back. Because you are stronger than you think. See, the devil, he always tend to play. I tell y'all this all the time, and I can't stress this to y'all enough. The devil always try to play games. He play games a lot, especially with your mind. He always try to play your mind. He plays with your mind, and he tries to use your weaknesses against you to make you believe that you cannot be who you want to be. He makes you believe that you're not strong or you can't do the things that you set out to do. But you're bigger than that. You're bigger than that. The devil can play with your mind all day, but he ain't bigger than your heart. Can't stress this to y'all enough. He ain't bigger than your heart. That's why it's important to keep God in your heart. Because if you got God in your heart, you can fight any war. I keep telling y'all every day, man, it's a war out here. It's a war out here. You gotta understand. You don't have to stay down. You don't. It's a choice to stay down. Like I say, I tell y'all, sometimes we feel like we're strong, we're so strong, because like a lot of times, some of us grew up in different situations, right? And different kind of parents. So our parents always taught us different things or different kind of ways to maneuver through life. You know what I'm saying? Some of our parents said, hey, if you're going through something, just know that you're built strong and you can make it through anything. You can get through anything. Don't never let nobody tell you what you can and can't get through. You don't need, you know what I'm saying? You're strong, you're independent, you're this, you're that. So our mentality is always, hey, I can do this on my own. I don't need nobody's help. Especially when you're going through something. I can do this on my own. I don't need nobody's help, because that's the way that you were raised. That's the way that you were brought up. That's what your parents had you growing up to believe, or your parents had you growing up to believe. Some of us grew up in the church, where we was taught different. We were already told that when we go through things, God is the guide. God is the healer. God will help us do whatever. So we already know to call on God. Some of us grew up in rougher situations, where, such as myself, where I came up in the streets. I don't even know how to use my testimony to help y'all. You already know. Where I came up in the streets. When I came up in the streets, I was taught pretty much just to survival. Survival was a must. I wasn't taught about, God is my guider, he's my healer, he's my ruler. That's not the way I was taught growing up. I always believed it was me against the world, me against whatever. I could fight any battle. I could win any battle on my own. I'm built for tough. It don't matter. Because no matter what I'm going through, I'm going to win the battle. Because I am who I am, and I can't be beaten. But see, no matter what I was going through, God always had his hands on me. Always. He never left my side. I fought a lot of battles and a lot of wars. I fought through them shootouts. I fought through them fist fights. I fought through a lot of different things. I don't have to get too deep into detail, but I fought through a lot of things. And guess what? God brought me out every time. I went through depression. I went through a lot of stages because of the fact that I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know how I was going to outcome any situation. But God had always stood by my side. God had always stood by my side. He always told me, son, I got a bigger plan for you, but I didn't want to hear it. That's the thing. I didn't call on God when I was going through things. And that is exactly why I continue to go through them. You cannot sit around and keep thinking that you're bigger than God. You just can't. You can't sit around and think that you can overcome any situation without calling on God for help. Because one thing about God is if you put when you come down to you and God, it's like a relationship. You in with God, y'all locked in like this for life. For life. From the moment you come in this world, you're locked in with God. But first, unfortunately, the circumstances of this world full of sin that we live in diverse our mind away from that. Diverse our mind away from that. It doesn't, and we don't realize and understand fully that really we're locked in with God. It's something that you have to reteach yourself, or something that you have to find. But that's not the way that God made it for us, though.
Yes. It's just important that we just know that God will guide us. And when you feel like a lot is on you, just pray and just know that God will lead you the right way. I have a Bible verse that I want to read, and it says in Hebrews 13:5, it says, God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. You know, some of you that's watching us, some of y'all feel abandoned. Some of you feel that God don't hear your prayers. And God is telling you, I'm right there, but I need you to trust me more. And when God is asking you to trust him more, you have to walk in his way. You have to allow him to guide you. You know, yes, it may be a fight, but you don't have to go to the fight with a pocket knife or a gun. You have to trust God and know that God is going to take up for you. He got your back. If he had did it for David, if he had did it for multiple peoples in the Bible, he will take care of it. All you have to do is be strong and allow God to help you.
Read that Bible verse again for those who need to hear it again.
Yes, it says in Hebrews 13:5, God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. And we just have to put our trust in God and just know that he will lead us the right way. You know, some of you, you know, you feel that your mother, your father left you. That's another one. I can read that one as well. And it is coming from Psalms 27:10. It reads, even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord will hold me close. So we just have to know that God have us in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the trials and tribulations, when we feel that, you know, our feelings is too much. Just hold on to that Bible. Hold on to your Bible. Hold on to yourself and hug yourself and know that God is with you. It's okay to hug yourself. It's okay to encourage yourself when you feel like a lot is coming to you at one time. And just know that God is closer to you more than you think. You know, God is with you. All you have to do is trust God and know that he got you. All you have to do is allow him to lead the way, and he will take care of the rest. When we pray, when we start surrendering, we have to lift up our hands to the Lord and say, Lord, I surrender all, and he will do the rest. And it's important to be patient with God. You know, be patient and be humble. You know, that's a lot of our struggles. You know, we want things to happen quickly, but we have to wait.
Yeah, we definitely have to wait. We definitely have to wait for what's destined to come through God. Understand that a lot of us right now, we have a problem with we have a big problem, and one a lot of people have. Well, I'm gonna say a lot of people, a lot of us, because like I said, we on this live, we're one. When y'all come on this live, y'all family to us, just like we're family to y'all. So we're one on this live. So I'm gonna say a lot of us, our biggest problem is admittance. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's the biggest issue right there is admittance. And the reason why I say that, my queen, is because of the simple fact that we know that we going through something, and we've tried many times to overcome a certain type of battle or a certain type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
We tried many times, and it didn't work out in our favor. We didn't win that battle. We didn't win that situation. We didn't overcome it. But we still trying to fight it alone, and it's not getting us no way. And instead of us admitting that we know we cannot overcome whatever situation we're going through or whatever battle we're going through and calling on God, we sit there and we try to keep on going through it
Mm-hmm.
because we have a problem with the simple fact of admitting that I need help,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's the wrong way to go about it. You don't want to sit there and keep trying to fight if the war is not hitting you nowhere. Because like I said, if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the weapons to fight this war, you're gonna continue to sink lower and lower until you ain't got no more left in you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step is admittance. You have to be willing to admit that you need help if you're trying to overcome something, but you can't overcome it on your own. There's nothing wrong with admitting I need help. And like I said, a lot of people don't have friends that they can call on. A lot of people don't have family that they can call on. A lot of people don't have a soulmate, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that loved them. So it's hard for them to even make it through a situation. So the best way for them to overcome that situation is to reach out to God.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end of the day, God is not here to judge us.
Right.
He knows what we've done in our life. He knows what we've been through. He knows what our situation is. He knows exactly where we're at in this moment that we're fighting this battle. And with God knowing us, because he knows us better than we know ourselves, because he made us,
Mm-hmm.
he knows exactly what needs to be done to be able to overcome this battle. See, when you call on God and we ask for help, God helps us. He
Mm-hmm.
gives us the pathway that we need to be able to walk
Right.
through this battle.
Mm-hmm.
He gives us the armor that we need to fight back during this battle. So it all starts with admittance.
Yeah.
Once you start with admittance, after you talk to God and you ask God for help, the next thing that you have to go through with is acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept the fact of whatever your battle is, because if you don't accept it, then you're going to walk around in fear.
Right.
You have to know, okay, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But I have God on my side to
Right.
walk this path,
Mm-hmm.
okay? When you have God, once you realize you have God on your side, acceptance becomes easier and easier with time.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're doing this, God is slowly but surely putting the armor on you for
Right.
you to fight back. He's
Right.
giving you the weapon that you need to
Mm-hmm.
fight back at the
Mm-hmm.
time, right? So
Right.
then it gets to a point where you become stronger and stronger in faith, stronger and stronger in your heart and in your
Mm-hmm.
spirit. So then you're able to start fighting back, right?
Right.
Then you're able to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what comes after admittance and after acceptance is victory.
Right.
I want people to understand that in the end of that, it starts with like I said, it starts with admittance, then
Mm-hmm.
becomes acceptance, and then the end of that, it becomes victory.
Right.
See, when you have victory in the end, you can win that battle.
Right.
That means that you done sat there, you done went through it with God. God done walked that path with you, and he done made a clean slate for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about continuously keep on fighting.
Right.
You don't have to worry about continuously having to keep going to war because you won the war.
Mm-hmm.
The war is over. Now you can be able to live your life in a better light. And
Right.
any time that another war comes, you're able to face that battle. You're able to win that battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people have to understand. It's important to know that God has to be the guide for you to win that battle.
Right.
God will never abandon us. It says it in the Bible. I will never forsake you. I will never leave you. It says it in the Bible that I will forever guide your footsteps.
Right.
If you call on me, that's all people have to do is call on God.
Yes.
And he will help guide their footsteps. You can never, ever, ever. This is something that I want people to understand that's on this live with me right now. Because I'm trying to find my way as I go along. I've been there. I've done that. I've tried to win plenty of battles in my life without calling on God, and it never worked out for me. Most of my life, I just walked through straight darkness. I'm a living testimony. I'm just giving my testimony to somebody else. I can only speak my testimony to help other people. I walked through the darkness because I did not call on God enough. I walked through the darkness and lost wolves because I didn't do the 3 steps that I said, which was first off, admittance, acceptance, and victory. I didn't walk those steps. But the moment that I decided to sit there and accept God and ask God to help me through my battles and ask God to help guide my steps and trust in God, I had all of the victories that I needed. I overcame.
Right.
I overcome. And I became a better person. That darkness no longer was able to swallow me no more. See, the darkness that I was trapped in, that I felt like I couldn't come out of, I was able to walk out of that darkness because of the fact that I called on God. But had I not called on God, I would still be in that darkness. Who knows where I would be right now? I would probably still be smoking marijuana.
Right.
I'd probably still be, out there in those streets doing what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd probably still be out here lost. Who knows? I could be dead or in jail if I didn't call on God. But because I accepted God and I was able to walk with God, I overcame a battle that was bigger than myself.
Right.
See, the war that I was fighting in my life was bigger than myself. The war that you were fighting in your life at one point before you got God as your guidance and your savior was bigger than yourself.
Right.
And we did not call on God to make us a better person. We didn't call on God to help us fight them wars. Where would we be right now? Would we even be together right now?
No.
We probably wouldn't be.
No.
Would we be better people right now? We probably wouldn't be.
No.
But see, God made it so that we can overcome those battles, so that we can become the people that we were brought up to be, the people that we always wanted to be.
Right.
And God did that for us. So if he can do that for us, the point I'm trying to make to y'all in this live right now, if he can do that for us, he can do it for you. All you have to do is call on him. It doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter where your life is at right now. Don't never feel like that you've done too much to the point that God ain't going to hear you. That's false. That's false. God can always forgive you for your sins. God can always help you to turn your life around, but you have to be willing to trust God to do it. You have to be willing to know that God is going to hear you. Don't never allow what you've done in your life to make you feel like, oh, I've done so much to the point that I can't call on God as my savior. He'll never hear me because I done did this, I done did that, I done did this and did that. That's not true. God will always forgive you. God is a loving God. He's a forgiving God. He's a hearing God. You just have to be willing to talk to him. And I don't want to hear no excuses on this live neither. We are writing in the comments because there's no excuse for why you cannot talk to God. If you can make time to answer your phone for anybody else, or you can make time to go outside and take out your trash, or you can make time to do anything else, pay your bills and all that, and that only take a quick type away on your computer, then you can make 2 minutes. You don't even have to be a long prayer, or even if you're not praying, just call out to God. It only takes 2 minutes or a couple of seconds to call out to God. There's no reason why you can't do it. At one point in time, I felt like God wouldn't hear me. That was my biggest problem. And it's funny because God was always there by my side the whole time. God had told me when I was in the streets, I got a bigger plan for you, son. But see, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. God had told me that before, and I didn't want to hear it. I told him I'm going to leave when I'm ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like I said, it only takes 2 seconds to call out to God and for him to hear you. You just have to be willing to take the steps right now to do it. And you can do it. Because you got to understand, you're more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Don't allow the darkness, don't allow the devil to hold the power over you. Don't allow people or anything else to hold the power over you and make you feel like you can't do something, or you're not going to be somebody, or that you're not going to win anything, or you're not going to accomplish anything, because that is false. That is false. Don't allow whatever situation is coming your way to make you feel like you're below who you really are, because you need to hold yourself up to the highest standard, because God made it so that you can be able to be in this world to spread light, and also be in this world to become somebody and to do his work and to spread joy and to spread light about who he is amongst others. So you are a king in this world right now as we speak. You are a queen in this world as we speak, because that's what God put you on this earth to be. But like I said, sometimes we get misled because the world is full of sin.
Right.
The world is full of trouble. And sometimes by us growing up in this world, we get misguided and misconstrued. That's just like about history. Right now, with regular history about what's going on in the world right now, we're misguided about history. Holidays and all kind of things. They flip the rules around and make us to believe that something is the way that it isn't. So it's not our fault that we wasn't taught how to call on God, and we wasn't guided the right way. But the point I'm trying to make to you is sometimes you have to figure that out. That's what people like us are here for, to guide people who are lost. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's never too late. Don't allow the weight of the world to make the weight of the world or the weight of whatever you're going through to pull you under. Because as long as you're allowing it to pull you under, you're getting more and more weights. Like I said, it's like how can I put it? It's like you're sitting here, you're carrying something like this, and they're piling more and more stuff up on you. You know that you're trying to move bags into your house, like you got them off the U-Haul truck. You know, sometimes you might put them on your shoulder like this. Sometimes you might carry it like this. You're carrying stuff, but there's more and more stuff piling on top of them bags that you got out that U-Haul. So now you're getting to a point where it's tipping like this. You're walking, but it's tipping. You're tipping while you're walking. But see, as you're tipping while you're walking, you keep getting more and more problems, more and more stuff is coming. You're trying to carry it. You feel like so you ain't called on God yet. Now you know the thing is tipping. You ain't called on God yet. You're trying to carry it. You still walking, you tipping. And then they throwing more and more stuff up there. You ain't called on God yet. But see, while it's tipping, if you call on God and you let God know, God can give you the strength to carry it all.
Right.
He can help you to carry all that weight to your household. Right? When I'm saying weight, like I said, I'm using an example of U-Haul, like stuff that you get off the U-Haul truck. You know what I'm saying? He can give you the strength that you need to carry them bags off that U-Haul truck. You won't have to worry about it being so heavy that it's tipping while you're trying to take the bags into your house. He can give you the strength to carry that, because them problems that was them bags are no longer problems. What was strong, what was sitting there was weight. It's no longer weight. Because God gave you the strength that you needed to carry that weight. To be able to put them bags down and say in the end, I'm good. You don't put them bags in your household. You don't have to worry about not being strong enough no more, because you are strong, because God gave you the strength that you needed to get through. And that's what y'all got to understand.
Yes, we have to be willing to sacrifice too. You know, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You know, in order for me to change, I had to stop doing the things that I loved. The things that I loved to do was sin, you know, and I had to sacrifice, and I said, God, you know what? I'm ready to change. I'm ready to just do what you want me to do. I'm tired of playing games. I'm tired of backsliding. You have to make some sacrifices, and don't worry about if people laughing at you, because the same people that's laughing and talking about you is the same people that's going to open the door for you. Those are the same people that's going to be there when you make it. And you just have to sacrifice. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to do the things that God had for you. Sometimes we think what we doing right now is a lifetime. That's not what God has for you. The plan that God has for you is different than your plan. He tells us, my will be done. Not our will, but his will be done in our life. And we have to understand when we do things in the will of God, that's how things will happen. But if we holding, you know, anger, we holding, you know, all of this stuff in us, we're not going to make it, because we want to do things our way. Good morning. God bless you. Thank you for joining.
Good morning, Letitia. That's Letitia right there. We love Letitia. How you doing, Letitia? Good morning.
Yes, it's just important that we just sacrifice. You have to be willing to change. And don't play with God. When you say, Lord, I'm ready to change, I went to God when I was ready. This is the truth. I'm sure y'all heard of me telling you my story. I went to God when I was ready. I didn't go to him playing. I said, I'm ready to be saved. I'm ready. You know, I went through some things, but I told God, look, I'm ready. He changed me, and he can change you as well, but you have to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to stop doing some things that you love. If you love going to that strip club, you got to say, okay, I can't do this no more. You got to take your life serious. You know, people just play with their life. And then when something happened, let me tell you, it could be somebody close to you. It could be a family member. It could be anything. And sometimes God give us a wake-up call. And a wake-up call can be somebody that you knew, somebody, it just can be something just randomly happen. You get a call in the morning. Yeah, what is this? What is this? I just want you to know that this person passed away. What? And your whole life changed.
Shatters.
Because you like, Lord, what? Why did this happen? Sometimes God give us a wake-up call to let us know that that could have been you. But my grace and my mercy was over your life. So we have to start taking our life serious. You know, when I was in sin, I did a lot of things. And, you know, I tell people this, don't be living in your regrets. Learn from it and move forward. You can't think, oh, well, I did this with him, I did it with her, I did it. Listen, give it to God and let it go. Let go of your past. Yes, you probably slept around with girls, boys, whatever you did. So what? Let it go. And let God take care of it. You got to let your past go. Some of you are in your 30s. Some of you are in your 40s, and you still worrying about some things that you did in high school. You worry about some things that happened to you in your family. You need to let that stuff go and sacrifice and move forward. Because God will give you the wake-up call. And a wake-up call is going to wake you up in your life and, oh, Lord, how did this happen?
Right.
It can be somebody close to you. It could be somebody that you know. So you gotta change. Somebody on here, God wants you to change today. You gotta be able to change on the inside and the outside. You have to stop making excuses. Y'all talk too much and you ain't doing no action. You're not proving yourself. Prove yourself to God and stop proving yourself to man.
Right.
Show God your true colors.
Yes, Letitia, you're in our prayers. We'll definitely pray for your father who's in the hospital. We definitely had prayed, you know, for your family as well.
Amen.
So the fact that you said that your family is home now, but your father's in the hospital, we're sorry to hear that.
Right.
But we will definitely pray for your family. We've been praying, and I'm glad to see that it's worked out for you as well. Your father will be healed in God's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We'll definitely get the highest to the Almighty God. But in the end of the day, it's God's code, whatever it turn out. But we definitely are going to see it that our prayers are definitely with you. Because we know that God has the power to bring anything, anybody out of any situation. I want to speak back on this, babe, about what you said about being more serious when it comes down to asking God to forgive you or talk about your past. See, what a lot of people don't understand, and when I say a lot of people, I'm not talking about the people that's on our live right now, that's watching us right now. I'm talking about those who are lost right now, who play around with God, or those who don't even want to turn to God. A lot of people are going through problems right now as we speak. And when they're going through problems as we speak right now, they're going through and they're living in these problems because they have what you call, and I'm basically talking about, basically touching back on what you said, what you basically said about, you know, some of them living in the high school years and did this with this person or did that to that person, all that stuff. That's called traumatization, okay? That's called trauma. Traumatization is the word I use for. You know, a person like myself, I suffer from PTSD, okay? From things that I did when I was in the streets. It's called traumatization. And the thing about it is, like my wife said, if you allow traumatization to control you, Okay, and I mean, when I say control you, I mean you allow it to swallow you to the point that you're using that traumatization to take your frustration and what you've been through out on others. You're using that traumatization to destroy yourself and make excuses for why you're continuously destroying yourself. Okay, then it's a serious problem. And on top of it being a problem, I'm sorry to say that somebody gonna hate me for this, or somebody gonna be upset with me for that. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is, you're at this point in time, as you're growing and you're going through life and you're getting older and older, you're making an excuse, and you wonder why you're still where you're at, or you're not getting nowhere, or you're sinking lower in life, and it's getting worse. It's because you're using excuses instead of trying to find another route. There's no reason why at a certain point in time, if you realize that this traumatization is ruining you and it's making you worse and worse, that you could not call on somebody for help. This is basically what takes me back to the beginning of the subject that I was just talking about from the beginning. There's no reason why you cannot call on God. There's no excuses. Like I just gave y'all an example before my wife spoke. I talked to y'all about how you get some stuff off a U-Haul truck. You know, those of y'all that done moved before, y'all done had U-Haul trucks, so you know how it go when you get off a U-Haul truck. You gotta carry boxes and all kind of stuff. So if you're a man or a woman, I don't care who it is, I'm speaking to both. You sitting there, you carrying this box right here. You know the box is heavy. Okay, you just started carrying that. We're gonna use that as an example. Here, we're gonna use the boxes as problems and traumatization. That's going to be the example for the day. You done started carrying the boxes, which is the traumatization. Now you got one box. Now you know that box is heavy. Here go a whole box of problems right here. Now you're carrying it, right? But here come more boxes. Somebody that threw you another box. Okay, now you're like, whoa, you're wiggling. Okay, there's more problems. Here come another box. Boom, now you got three. You're carrying it like this. Whoa. Now you know at some point in time, you're going to fall. And there's valuables in there. These valuables that I'm talking about that's inside of that box is your life. The things that you can do to make you a better person. See, traumatization is just the boxes. Okay? But inside of those boxes is the good. Now, if you destroy the good, then what does that leave?
Nothing.
That leaves nothing, and that leaves the bad. So if you destroy them boxes and you drop them boxes, then you're left with nothing but trauma and bad memories. You're left with nothing but evilness and darkness. But if you call on God, so you carry the boxes are traumatization. Like I said, inside the boxes, that's the positivity. How will you ever be able to open them boxes if you don't call on God? How will you have the strength to get those boxes to your door if you don't call on God? You're wiggling. More and more boxes is piling. When you going to call on God? At this point in time, you know that you're at any second about to dropping boxes. When are you going to call on God?
Right.
Like I said, it says it in the Bible. Call on me, and I will forever guide your footsteps.
Right.
I will never leave you. Read that verse to them again that you just read about abandonment.
Okay.
Read that verse to them again, babe, please.
Second.
Give her a second. But y'all, some of y'all just now joining this live, y'all really need to hear this verse. God will never abandon you. He will never misguide your footsteps. If you don't call on God, how will you unpack them boxes? If you drop them boxes, you lose everything inside of you that's good. You don't want to lose everything inside of you that's good. I'm going to also tell y'all something as well. My wife and I, we were sitting here yesterday, and we had a little date last night, and we watched a couple of movies last night, and one movie specifically grabbed our attention, right? And it was about this preacher. It was about this pastor, and I think it's called. Let me see if I can remember the movie correctly. Just give me a second while I try to think of the name of the movie. It was called Behind the Veil. It was on Tubi. Okay, we was watching Tubi last night, or Tubi. I don't know what they call it. Tubi, Tubi. People get it, you know. But we was watching on there. It's called Behind the Veil. So we were sitting there and we were watching the movie Behind the Veil, and basically it's about this pastor and his wife. They have a church, right? And they own the church. And the pastor has a wonderful wife, a loving wife, a very loving, a very wonderful family. But he's too caught up in his ways of greed. And what I mean by greed, his greed was lust. He's caught up in his ways about lust. So he's out here, he's messing around doing everything except for paying attention to his wife. So his wife or whatnot is sitting there and trying to stand by this man's side the whole time because she's trying to walk in the ways of God. She's trying to walk in the ways of the way that she was raised to be, right? While this man continuously cheats on her. She didn't want to believe he was cheating, but this man was cheating. Coming home and treating her like trash. Wouldn't even come home and acknowledge her. So at some point in time, the point I'm trying to make to you, I ain't gonna give you a long story about the movie. Go watch it yourself. I don't want to tell it. But just know, at some point in time, he got to a point where he had to call on God because it became too much, okay? It became too much. And when that happened, I got offended. I ain't gonna lie, I got offended personally. Because I looked at my wife and I said, oh, now he wants to call on God. I said it just like that. My wife looked at me like, doesn't everybody deserve to call on God? I said, yeah, everybody deserves to call on God. But why wait? Why wait? Why wait? You're a pastor, you know it. You know what you was doing. But like I said, I got offended. I said, oh, now he wants to call on God. But the point is, like, at the end of the day, it got us to a point where we was able to discuss it. We discussed the movie. So go and check that movie out if you got time sometime. It's on Tubi. It's called Behind the Veil. Very good movie. Very interesting movie.
Okay.
Read that Bible verse to him.
The Bible verse is Hebrews 13:5, and reads, God has said, I would never fail you. I would never abandon you. That is what God said. And we have to learn how to let go of things. A lot of us, you gotta learn how to let go and let God. You have to learn how to trust His plan for your life. Some of you gotta let go. I know they hurt you. I know what happened, but you gotta praise God in the midst of that. You gotta learn how to, trust God. When I lost my friends, when I lost people in my past, I had to learn how to trust in God. And I cried. I said, God, you told me to let go of my friends. You told me to let go of family members. And these people I loved. But you gotta let go and trust God, because God loves you, and He cares, because when you start to move forward in your life, you feel much better because you start to feel the peace of God. Some of you right now, when you let go of certain people in your life that is holding you up, a lot of people can be holding you up from things that God has for you, and you just have to be able to trust God's plan for your life. When you begin to let go of old friendship and people from your past, you begin to feel the peace of God, the joy, the love, the comfort over you, and you feel much better. It feels good to let go. When I was growing up, it was really hard. When I got in my teenage years, and I've been friends with somebody since I was 12 all the way to 26, and when I had to let that person go, I let them go. But it was hard because the time we spent, the friendship we built. Can you imagine being friends with somebody since you was 12, since you was 10, all the way till you grown, and God said, look, no, you gotta let these people go. And I'm like, God, come on, these my friends. But I give you new friends. I give you new family members. I give you new people that will guide you, that will help you, that will treat you with respect, that will appreciate you. Some of you look at your story and you say, what's wrong with my mommy? What's wrong with my father? Sometimes God give us people in our life to guide us. And those people are called angels. I call them angels because sometimes if your mother on drugs and you need a woman, you need a woman to help you, to guide you, show you how to be a woman. God know how to put people in your life at the right time. You may need somebody to guide you. You may need somebody to help you during that time. And God, He would do that. All you have to do is say, Lord, I need help how to be a woman. Lord, I need help how to be a man. God will give you a role model. You could be walking down the street, you meet a man, and he just show you. Some of you are still, I think, some of you, you could be, I'm looking at the age-wise, some of you can be 18. I'm sure some of y'all is 18 on here. Some of you 18, 19, maybe in your teenager years. But I'm telling you, you need a somebody to be your role model. God gonna give you that role model. Just stay focused and ask God for help, and He got you.
Yes. Ask God for help and He got you. I like how you said that. Very well said. Um, in the end, babe, like you said, I want to touch back on what you say. We feed off each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's an intuition thing. That's an entwinement thing. That's we feed off of each other. It's like one. That's just how it is. But like my wife said, when it comes down to calling on God and going through certain situations, God can help redirect your life in a different way. He can get rid of all the negativity that's in your life. Like she said, talking about friends and stuff. And I'm glad she said that because God changed me in a lot of ways. God brought me through, when we told y'all the story about how I had that surgery and how I was in that coma, how she prayed for me, I came out and I was reborn, a whole different person. You know what I'm saying? When I came out of that surgery, God changed my whole direction. I had a lot of people I dealt with, a lot of people that I would have rode for, died for, would have gave my last to, would have picked up the phone for anybody at any moment, you know what I'm saying? Did anything for before I did for myself. But me being going through what I went through when I came out reborn, God was able to show me who my real friends were, who was really in my corner and had my back. I had only probably one or two friends who came past the hospital while I was in that hospital. God showed me that for a reason. But at first, before that happened, I was writing for a lot of people and doing for a lot of people. But when I was in that hospital, only two of my real friends that I have till this day came to that hospital and stood by my side through the whole way through. Everybody else was like, oh yeah, bro, that's crazy what you going through. Get well soon. Praise up. Not one phone call, not nothing. Oh, but when I got better, oh, my phone was jumping. Remember that, babe?
Mm-hmm.
When I got better, oh, my phone was jumping. Everybody called me, hey, when you coming around? Woo, woo, wop. Hey, what you doing? It's that third. Everything was just
Mm-hmm.
jumping. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. God was able to show me that I didn't need those other friends in my life because they didn't genuinely care. They wasn't here for me the way that I thought that they were supposed to be here for me. They wasn't who I thought that they were. God was not only able to change my friends, but He was able to change me as a man. Okay? I was no longer concerned with getting back into the streets. I was no longer concerned with doing negative things. It wasn't because of the fact that I survived, because I done survived plenty of surgeries. For those of y'all that know my story, I survived a couple of surgeries. So it wasn't because I survived or I overcame that surgery and God brought me through. It was because I felt like I owed it to God to change because of the simple fact that I knew that God had done for me a lot more better. God had changed my way of thinking. God made it so that I wouldn't be so stress-free in life because before I had that surgery and was reborn, I was going through a lot of depression. I was going through a lot of stress. You know that dark cloud that I talked to y'all about, that darkness that swallows you? I was in that dark. But for the first time ever, when I came out of that surgery and being reborn, I felt so free. So because I felt free, because my life was better and I had another chance to redirect my life, I gave my life to God because in the end of the day, I felt like since He did that for me, I owed it to Him to do the right thing. So I changed my way of thinking and how I am. And look at me now. So the point I'm trying to make to y'all is what my wife said when she said that when you put your trust in God and you call on God to get you through, God can bring you out of that darkness. God can. We're living testimonies, both of us, my wife and I. Like I said before some of y'all came into this live, if God didn't change who I was, my wife and I probably wouldn't be together right now. If God didn't change who she was, my wife wouldn't and I probably wouldn't be together right now. We've always loved each other, but we just was in two different directions in life. And sometimes when you're in two different directions in life and both of y'all are not living y'all life correctly and you're caught up in sin, sometimes it just doesn't work. Because two pieces of destruction doesn't do nothing but cause more destruction. Somebody has to walk in the light. When my wife came back into my life, she was already walking in the light. I had just been reborn, okay? I had just came out of the coma, came out of surgery and all that. So I didn't know too much. I knew I wanted to do right, but I didn't know how. But see, God had made it so that He could give me a partner that knew how to do it. Because like I said, she still loved me all them years before we came back together. So but she was able to get her life right. She didn't just do it because of the simple fact of God. She did it for God more than anything and did it for herself. But at the end of the day, she'll tell anybody. And she'll tell anybody this because it's true. She also did it because of the simple fact that not only did she want better for herself and for better for her children, and also felt like she owed it to God, but she felt like if she was going to have me back in her life, because God had told her I was her husband at one point in time. This was before I came out of the coma. God told her I was her husband. But when she was fighting to get her life right with God, she knew that if she was going to be the woman that God wanted her to be, and if she was going to have me as her king and her husband, she had to be that light for me. So God was able to change her heart so that she can be a better person as a woman. God was able to change her heart so she can be a better mother. God was able to change her heart so she can redirect her life focus in the right direction. And once she got herself right with God, at a certain point in time, that's when I got sick, okay? She was already right with God. She was already right with our king, our ruler. But when she came back into my life, she was able to, as I came out of that coma and was reborn and didn't know which direction to go, she was able to help guide me in the right path. And that's what's important. If you're going to find you a partner that can help guide you, uplift you, and push you through life in different kind of ways, especially in that type of way. Find you a partner that can do that for you. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's nothing more greater than having a partner that can uplift you. You don't, like I said, two people that's lost in sin, two people that's lost in darkness, two people that is misguided and ain't trying to live their life in the right direction, ain't gonna do nothing but pull each other under. Because that means that's two people that's battling a lot of demons. A lot of demons. And when you're battling a lot of demons, it's hard to focus in life, because you're so stuck on what you're going through, so much stress. You want a healthy relationship. You want to grow. You want to overcome. You want to be able to go from living in an apartment to being able to have a house, starting a family, do all these things. But you can't do that if both of y'all are stuck right here because of the battles that y'all fighting. Right. Somebody has to bring the light out. So at one point in time, how can you bring the light out if you don't call on God? Calling on God and asking God for direction is very important. Very important. I can't stress this to y'all enough. Don't, like I said, we don't tell y'all nothing that we don't tell ourselves on here. We come in here, we for real about this. We for real about this. We don't play around with this. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you gotta be real about who you are. You gotta be real about what you're going through. When you go to God, like I said, when we was watching that movie, Behind the Veil, who was watching that movie, I was real upset with the pastor, because at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, now you want to call on God. When my wife say, don't everybody deserve to call on God, deserve a second chance? I said, yeah, I agree with her. And I said, yeah, but only if he's serious. Only if he's serious. I hope he ain't calling on God. He's going to turn back around and start going back to lusting and doing all that stuff, because God ain't going to forgive him for that.
Right.
But he actually was serious about changing. That's the thing. If you're going to call on God, you have to be serious. You have to be serious. I didn't really sit there and call. I didn't really sit there and try to, do nothing and try to get myself right until I was serious about it. When I came out and I was reborn and I realized that God had took that darkness off of me, that's when I told God, okay, God, I'm not perfect. You know I'm going to have my battles. I know I'm going to face my battles, but I'm going to try to do right by you. I'm going to try to do right by you. And I've been doing right ever since. Yeah, they hear you too. They hear you too. Say hello. Say hello. See? But God hears you. He hears you. He hears you. So never be afraid to call on God. Ever. I don't care how big your battle is. I don't care how big your war is. Call on God and he will see you through. Understand that nobody is more powerful than God. Don't never think that you're bigger than God. Ever. And what I mean by that, and when I say don't never think you're bigger than God, I'm not sitting there and making it seem like you're trying to act like you're the prophet, or you're trying to act like, you're the one that somebody look up to. What I mean by don't think that you're bigger than God is don't sit there and keep trying to fight a battle you can't win. That's where I went wrong at in my life. All that time when I was in the streets, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm going through this, I'm going through depression, I'm going through this and that. I'm thinking, I don't need nobody. I'm gonna get through this stressful situation. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm going through another surgery. I'm gonna get through this situation on my own. I'm thinking I'm bigger than God. That's my ego and my pride.
Right.
But once I opened up to God, he made it so I could be free from all that. He made it so that I can be in a better position. So never think that you're bigger than God. Understand that God is the person who can bring you through the darkness. He can be that flashlight. He can take you from being, like I told you. I gave y'all an example earlier about the boxes and stuff. You can unpack them boxes and find that good in that situation, as long as you call on God. No, not only that example am I going to give y'all, but I remember the other example I gave y'all earlier about being in the ocean. You're swimming in the ocean. The deeper that you get into a submarine or whatever the case may be, the deeper you get in the ocean, the darker it gets. You so deep in the ocean, you're lost in the darkness. You can't see nothing except for when you come across maybe one of them fish. They got a flashlight on or something like that, but you can't see nothing because you're too deep in the ocean. But guess what? God can give you the light that you need to make the whole ocean light so that you can find your way at the bottom. You just have to call on Him.
Right. Yes. I want to read this Bible verse, and it's coming from James 4:8, and it reads, "Come close to God, and God will come close to you." You know, it's important that we come close to God right now. We need God more than ever because this world is so confused. Definitely the news channel is approving everything and having us doing a lot of abomination, having our children confused, having everybody confused. It's like it's either you do this or you don't, or it's either you agree with this or you don't. It's just a lot of foolishness that's going on in this world. And us as Christians, we have to stand up and stop accepting all of this stuff that's going on. We have to be strong as believers. We have to depend on God. We have to trust His plan, because it's going to be one day when everything, when God come back, everything is going to just open. It's either you going to go to hell or you going to go to heaven. And some of you think you're going to heaven and you're not. So you need to think about your life, and like God said, it's time that you come closer to Him. It's time to get close to Him now. Figure out what you doing wrong. If you doing drugs, if you doing sin mean multiple things. It just don't mean sex. You know, when I was growing up, that's what I thought sin was just sex. But it doesn't mean just sex. It means doing things wrong out the will of God. You know, you have to apply the Bible to your life. How you living your life? Are you just living just to live? You just living day by day, just eating breakfast and just walking out the door. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you need to do is pray and ask God. The first thing that need to come out your mouth is say, "Lord, lead me the way that you want me to go." Because sometimes we are being led by the devil, and we don't even know that we're being used by him. So it's important that we ask God when we pray, "Lord, you lead me the way that you want me to go. You protect me from hurt and harm and danger." When you pray, be specific with your words, because I'm going to tell you, you can walk out your front door and it can be a terrible accident by you just waiting on God, by praying. Y'all don't know that your prayer be changing stuff. Your prayer is powerful than anything in this world. I mean, your prayer, your worship. You have to worship and pray and tell God what you feeling. I don't care if you got a headache. Lord, touch my mind. Lord, touch my head. Remove anything that I'm feeling. Take it away. And say, "Lord, allow me to go closer to you each day." I mean, every day you get out your bed and you step your feet on that ground, you better start thanking God. You better start making some changes and figure out, how can I get closer to God? What do I need to do? Lord, you show me, and God will show you. You just have to be specific. When you pray, be specific with your words. Lord, help me to stop lusting. Lord, help me to stop just doing things out of your will. Help me to get off this street. Help me to stop doing these drugs. Be specific. The same way I talk to my husband is the same way I can pray to God. The same way I'm on social media posting everything is the same way you can pray to God. You can post on social media and tell people, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through this. But you can't tell God what you're going through. Nobody cares about what you're going through, but God do. People sit there every day laughing at the things that you're suffering through. And you getting ready to jump off the bridge and kill yourself. Nobody know nothing. But by you going to God, he saved your life. So go to God every day that you step out your door, every day when you step out your bed. Lord, I just thank you. Be pacific when you pray. Don't be scared to pray, saints. We cannot be scared. Because if you don't pray, you fall for anything. You fall for anything. You see what's going on these news channels. You see what's going on in these households. You see what's going on these trains, these buses. Let prayer be your bread every day. And God, your bread is your life. Let God be everything to you. And he got you. God will lead you the way. Just trust his plan. Trust what he has for you. And God got you. Be encouraged.
Before we get up off here, I'm just gonna say this, and just gonna let y'all know, God will never give you more than you can handle. God will always do things not on your time, but he'll always do things at the right time. If you're gonna call on God, make sure you call on God and you're serious about it. Don't play around with it, because God knows, like I said, God knows when you're serious and when you're playing. God knows you better than you know yourself. He know the moves you're gonna make before you make them. So just make sure that you're serious when you call on God, trust his plan, trust in him, understand that you're stronger than what you think you are. Like my wife said, who you gonna call on? Don't allow it, because when you're sitting there, you posting on these social medias, or you doing all these other things, and you saying all these other things, the people that you're talking to, or you're doing this for, they don't care about your situation. Sometimes people that you call on a day-to-day basis will sit there and hear you. They be like, oh yeah, I hear you, or I'm sorry you're going through this and that. When they get off the phone, they be like, man, they talk too much. Or they be like, oh man, I don't nobody want to hear about them problems or whatever. They crazy. You don't never know what somebody thinking or what they going through. But see, God loves you as you are. God don't judge you, because he understands you. He made you. He created you. God ain't here to judge. He always going to welcome you with open arms no matter what. So always make sure that you call on God, and that you trust in God, and you trust in his plan no matter what. Because God can bring you through. He can see you through when others can't. It's so much, like my wife said before, I can't stress this to y'all enough before I get up off here. I done told y'all already plenty of times on these lives, there's a war outside right now. It's a war outside. It's us against them. It's us, it's God followers against the devil followers. It's God versus the devil. We in a world of sin right now. The devil think that he winning. He think that he got one up on us. And he always thinking that he can find ways to try to lead God's people in the wrong direction. But that's where he wrong at. God is the healer. He's the ruler. He's the king. He got the last say so, and he's the big dog. He's the one who run everything. That's exactly why the world is going through what it's going through right now. Y'all see all these natural disasters happening. Y'all see all this, how random deaths are happening. God not playing. He coming back. And we are going to win this war. And you can win it with God. So always make sure that you put God first. Never think that God can't guide you through. No matter what your situation is, call on God and he will see you through. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to this live with my wife and I. As you already know, my wife, Ashley, the chosen one by Ashley. As you already know, I am conscious. For those of y'all that don't know me, I am conscious. Make sure that you like this live. Thumbs up for us, please. Thank you. We appreciate every thumbs up that we get. Make sure that y'all go back and watch this live again. A lot of valuable information in this live that can help you or help somebody else that you care about to make it through their day or make it through their year, whatever the case may be. We are here to help because we love y'all. Again, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Y'all take care. We'll see y'all again.